My opinion on John Walker has not changed. Not one iota. I'm the biggest hater. But you know what? Even being the biggest hater, it's not the fact that he exists that pisses me off. Because there's other characters that piss me off, but they still have a purpose in existing. Like Thanos. He's not supposed to be a good guy, but enough nuance is added to his character that you will feel some uncomfortable empathy for him. You know, like the way we found out that he is actually capable of loving someone. What actually pisses me off is all these fanboys glazing him so hard. He was written in Falcon and the Winter Soldier literally to represent white mediocrity. To show that white mediocrity and sometimes lack of fucking character will always be valued above black excellence. He's not a guy you're supposed to want to be. He's also not a character that was given any fucking development in Thunderbolts to make me give a shit about him. And even I, a hater, was actually looking forward to that. He didn't do anything redeeming. All we saw was a flashback of him being shitty to his black wife and baby. And you want me to care? Is the redemption in the room with us? Here's where I think a big opportunity was missed. Because I talked about this back in 2021 during Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because I'm an Air Force veteran. And I was like, I know John Walkers and I can tell you what makes John Walkers. I talked about the mental health crisis in the military. Basically how it screws everybody over. And race absolutely plays into how you get screwed. And sometimes it plays out for white men in a very particular way. If a white man goes to mental health and is like, hey, I want to get screened for depression. I want to get screened for whatever. I think I got this. I think I got PTSD. Very often, and this has happened to several people that I know, they'll be like, do you want to have a long career? Do you want to do this? Do you want to be a commander? Do you want to command a squadron, a flight, or whatever? They'll be like, yeah, I think I would like to have a 20-year career. And then mental health will go, then this conversation never happened. If you have mental health issues documented, that might impact how your career progresses. You may not get picked for shit. Actually, you may be kicked out. Don't you want to have a long career? The white guy's like, yeah, I do. So you got a bunch of these motherfuckers walking around base, unmedicated, with issues, and some of them turn into John Walkers because they did not get the help that they needed, because they were pressured into not getting it, because they want to keep their job. And who doesn't want to keep a fucking job? Because here's the fucked up kicker. Mental health is taken more seriously in white people. But any sign of mental instability, they will be like, oh, you can't handle much more anymore. You gotta go home. They will kick you out for something as little as going to too many therapy sessions. Black people, however, you go to mental health with that shit, they'll be like, nah, you're fine. You don't need a diagnosis for anything. And also, you're strong. You can handle it. We will work you to the last fucking minute of your fucking contract. And good luck fighting for your VA benefits afterwards. Don't ask me how I know. Okay, I know because it happened to me. I talked about this in 2021, and there were a whole bunch of veterans, including so many white men, that were like, she is fucking right. It happened to me. It happened to my buddy. This is exactly how it goes. So this would have been a great opportunity, for instance, for a flashback, maybe to show John Walker's reluctance to getting help. Maybe because he wants to keep a job. Maybe because he wants to keep on supporting his wife and kids. Maybe because this is the only job that he's had for his entire adult life because he's a fucking military member. And we are conditioned to believe that without the uniform, we are fucking nothing. So maybe he refuses help because he has to make it look like he's got it all together. But he doesn't. Then eventually all that shit that you don't address piles up. Before you know it, you're making charcuterie out of a man with the Captain America shield. And then you get dishonorably discharged after being told that you're the best thing since sliced bread, but also you're discouraged from getting the help that you needed. And now you're left out to dry. You are just another disposable veteran. Ain't that about a bitch? But none of that happened, did it? He just showed up as the same asshole that he was when we last left him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Ultimately, the glazing from these fanboys over this character that was not meant to be aspirational, it just tells me that they said representation matters, and I need to see a mediocre white guy who is an asshole and doesn't take accountability for his actions, just gets to exist and not change and still be rewarded. Which is also one of the reasons I think that people are acting like this is the first time that mental health has ever been addressed in the MCU. Even though most of the examples of mental health in the past in the MCU are still white men, I don't think they were mediocre enough for the bros to relate. You can't relate to Tony Stark or Steve Rogers because you can't relate to being somebody who actually tries or is good at something, who is dedicated to actually being good at what he does. You also can't relate to someone like Steve Rogers who actually stands up for other people and would never dance around a bonfire celebrating DEI is over, or someone who at any point is forced to take accountability for their actions. Love them or hate them, that definitely happened for Tony and Steve several times. The basis of whiteness is I exist and thus I am special. I think that's why you love John Walker so much. He's allowed to exist and be shitty and still be prioritized in world over more qualified people that might happen to be black. And you can't tell me that's not true when I see a bunch of Walker bros celebrating DEI is over, woke garbage is over. Yeah, representation matters and the basic white bros finally got it. Yay. So yeah, I'm still the biggest hater of John Walker, but I still want it more for his character, and absolutely fucking nothing happened. The fact that a bunch of people act like something happened really pisses me off.